talk just a little bit today about wearing gloves while you're shooting. Let me say, first of all, you can take it or leave it. You don't really need gloves when you're shooting. In the Marine Corps, we trained with them and without them. And so there definitely is pros and cons to wearing gloves while you're shooting. Now, over the last couple of years, I've tried to review several guns that I own, and in those reviews I try to tell folks whether or not a gloved hand will fit well on the trigger without any cramped conditions or anything like that. But I have had some negative comments about these things, so I thought it would be a good idea just to give you a couple of pros in regards to wearing gloves. And like I say, you're not going to get your hands beat up or bruised by shooting. It's not going to bruise you or cut you or any such thing like that. The gloves are incidental. In other words, when you're shooting and using a pistol or a rifle for the purpose it was intended for, you're going to have incidental things. You're going to have blood or broken glass or many things like that. And that's why you see many times operators, whether it's military, police, security, whatever the case might be, if it's armed security, you'll see them with gloves because things take place other than just pulling the trigger while you're working with a pistol. And let's face it, pistols were not made to shoot paper and steel. They were made to shoot at people and game and different stuff like that. So to me, gloves are certainly necessary. And then there's cold weather. As I've had some people say some pretty rude things about wearing gloves during shooting, but sometimes it's cold, and when it's cold you put gloves on. And if you're super macho man, you don't need gloves, good for you. But when it's cold, people put on gloves. When it's an adverse situation, people put on gloves, and there certainly is nothing wrong with wearing gloves. As a matter of fact, you should. I've been in many situations where there was activities with firearms and ended up being a lot of broken glass and blood and different things like that. And so you as a person that's using the weapon or even coming in after somebody else has already used the weapon, you're definitely going to need gloves. Now, if you're medical or anything like that, you'll need a different type of glove, and you'll need that if you're a police officer too or anything like that. But while you're actually using the weapon, I would suggest these rather than medical gloves. I think everybody understands the reasons for that, especially if you work in a situation where you're going to need that weapon. Then always have some gloves handy. And if you do need a glove, and if you do have time to get up out of your bed and grab a pistol, also grab a pair of gloves, and you might be doing yourself a favor. If you have to get down on the ground, there's broken glass or whatever the case might be, then I think they're a good tool. I think they're, while they wouldn't be part of your everyday carry, I don't think, they are something that I like to have in my vehicle every day. Have a pair in my vehicle, have a pair on my gun case, all these things where I can get to them quickly. So I just think it's a good idea. I use mechanics. I don't always use these. I like to use the kind, I do have some padded mechanics where if I have to hit something or bang on something or whatever the case might be, I prefer the padded gloves. The tactical gloves have the padding in them, but I can't afford those things. I choose to spend my money on other things. But these mechanics impact gloves are sufficient for the task, and plus they don't cost you $60 a pair. So with that being said, we'll just leave it at that. Gloves are a good thing. You should use them if you can.